Welcome back, everybody. Season 4, episode 7? 6? What are we on?
I think it's
6?
7.
6.
I'm one behind you guys every time we ask this question.
6/7?
Yeah.
All right.
Ish.
Everybody needs a nudge. Root Beer, welcome back.
Thanks.
Keithy.
Thanks, Danny.
And today's guest, my sister Daryce, is going to be so excited. I didn't even tell her because I wanted her to be surprised.
Oh.
She's going to be so excited. Shannon Sullivan is on the show today. My cousin, another family member. Say hello, Shannon.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. Formerly Shannon Dwyer.
Yeah.
From my mother's side of the family. So I know right now, well, not right now. Well, yeah, right now, while Daryce is listening to this, she's going to be so excited. Because she says we need to have more women on the show. And so does Root Beer.
I agree.
Oh, well, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll knock this out of the park.
Yeah.
We can source some other
We'll
ladies.
source some other, some other ladies. Yeah.
I got some ladies.
Good. We might need that.
Okay.
Assistant to the producer over here, maybe.
I love it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Keith?
I think it's a great idea. I actually have a few women in mind.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I was doing some research, some thinking of who we could add for guests, and a few women came up on my list.
You have a list of women.
Well, women to be on the podcast,
That's
Danny.
You have a list of women that you're carrying around in your pocket. That's amazing. Yeah. That's exactly what we want to hear.
What? Right.
So, I've been big into like superlative shows lately, like top 10.
Okay.
Like top 10, whatever. Top 10 places to visit in America. Top 10. So I've been into those. So I watched one recently, top 10 stadiums in the world.
Okay.
So top 10 stadiums in the world. I'm going to ask you guys what your opinion is. Top 10 stadiums in the world. Shannon, you're an athlete. What's your your top 10 stadium?
Oh, gosh.
No, it doesn't mean you have to have been there. It can be a baseball, it can be football, it can be soccer, it can be tennis,
Mm-hmm.
it can be anything. You got one?
A stadium, though?
Yeah.
Well, okay, well, I would say the original Boston Garden.
Okay.
But
Right.
because there's a history there, and I feel
Yep.
like that kind of puts it aside from anything else.
I love that. So Boston Garden. Old Boston Garden, though.
Old one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old
Yeah.
Boston Garden.
Right.
Played there.
They used to smoke cigarettes in there. Yeah. And you remember walking up? You used to walk. It was like one big ramp that went like this. And there'd be fights and people drinking beer and smoking cigarettes. And the cigarette smoke was like down to the top of your head.
Yeah, it's gross.
It was disgusting.
The good days.
The good old days where you could
Good old
smoke wherever
days.
you wanted to.
Oh, I miss those
Fights.
days.
It's fighting,
Fights in the
smoking,
stands.
drinking.
Love it.
So Boston Garden, what do you got?
I would have to go
And I think you're being. I'm just
Wembley
Oh, good one.
or the Rose Bowl.
Okay, those were both on the list
Okay.
of the show. Rose Bowl is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Site of the 19. What year was the Olympics out there? 1988, 84.
He was in the 80s for sure.
Yeah, 88, 84.
Yeah.
And Wembley Stadium is a big soccer stadium.
Yeah.
Right? And they have concert there.
Yeah.
Okay. Those were both on the list. Do you have one?
Hey.
We've got a guest.
Hi,
Hi,
Violet.
honey.
You want to sit in here?
Come on
You
in.
can lift her up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Climb right over. We got another guest on the show. Violet, you are now the answer to a trivia question. Who is the youngest person on the podcast? You are. You gonna say hello? You say hello into that microphone?
You can just whisper it.
So, all right. So, Violet, you're gonna stay in here the whole. I love it. All right. So we got Wembley, the Garden.
Wrigley Fields.
All right, good one. The Ivy.
Yep.
Yeah, good history there. So couple things of note on this show that I picked up. You know that the Wave Fenway Park was on it, for the record.
Are you going to finish your thought with this?
Fenway Park was on it.
Okay.
And did you know that the Wave started at Fenway Park?
No, I didn't know that.
No.
No, and it started because when if you were down the far end of the aisle, you had to get a beer, and everybody stood up, and that's what started the Wave. You know, like when you're handing down the beer.
Yep.
All the way down. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's what the show said. And then the other thing that I thought was really, really interesting, and then I'll tell you what I think is the best stadium. The other thing that I thought was really interesting about Fenway Park. Do you know the reason behind the green wall, the green monster?
I only know that they used to have a lot of ads on it.
They used to have a lot
Normal
of
to have ads, and it's not normal for it to be
green.
all green.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I should know this.
And actually, I'll tie it back to Wrigley Field, which is
Does it have something to do with the people behind it?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So they built the wall. The owners of the Red Sox built the wall because you could watch the game without paying for a ticket, standing on Lansdowne Street.
Ooh.
So they built the wall to prevent those people from seeing. And then fast forward, Wrigley Stadium had a similar issue. I don't know if you remember this, maybe like 15 or 20 years ago, maybe even longer, where all of the apartment buildings that were around Wrigley Stadium, Wrigley Field, you could climb to the roof of and watch the game. So and then the landlords got wise to it, started charging people to go up on the roof deck and had serve beer, and they had stands up there. And then finally, the owner of the Cubs in Wrigley Field sued the neighborhood people, and they came to an agreement, and I think they split the profits now.
Interesting.
But if you go down there now, there's actual stands on the roofs of these buildings.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's a cool place to watch a game. But the number one stadium in my mind is the Coliseum in Rome. I mean, that's like the quintessential Coliseum.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going outside of the United States.
Yeah, I tried to say that we could go where he went to Wembley, which is outside of the United States. So I thought that was kind of a giveaway.
I did
But
too.
you don't even know what Wembley is.
No,
do
she
you?
doesn't. No clue.
I don't. Tennis?
It's in Tennessee, right?
What?
Is it for tennis?
No, that's Wimbledon.
Oh,
Wimbledon, which was also
I
on
was going
the.
to say, was that on the list? That's
That
got to be.
Wimbledon
Yeah.
was on the list.
that's
Yep.
my answer.
Wimbledon was on the list. Wimbledon is your answer?
Yep.
So in the 400,000, you leaving us?
She's out of here.
This
This is
boring.
done. Just boring.
Good to see ya.
Right.
400,000 gladiators died at the Coliseum.
That's a lot.
400,000 gladiators. Isn't that a lot?
That's a lot.
Think about that, though. Like, you wake up in the morning as a gladiator. If you have a fight that day, that could be the end of it.
Right.
You're dead.
Right.
You're not going home with, like, a loss or a win or a trophy. You're dead. You're
Dead.
going home in a body bag. So that's a
High
pretty
stakes.
high stakes Coliseum. So those are the shows I've been watching. They do them on, like, Smithsonian Channel. Do you watch them at all? Do you watch
No.
Do you watch TV? I don't know. A little bit.
A little bit.
I fed you
I
pegged.
can't say I can't. I don't know if I've watched a show that's top 10.
No, like top. Do you watch them, Kiwi?
I'll watch like top 10 goals,
Yeah,
top 10 assists.
that's it. I feel like that's a segment on a show.
It
though.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't purposely look out for and search for the Smithsonian Channel for the top 10.
You watch the highlights of the game after you watch the game.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So you don't watch the Smithsonian Channel,
No, I do not. No.
History Channel,
Yes, I watch History Channel.
Shannon History Channel.
No.
No.
No. It's whatever they watch.
Yeah.
Whatever the kids watch. So it's like if it is, it's I don't know, like National Geographic.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
deadliest mosquitoes of the world,
Yeah.
right? And it's like some, African mosquito
It's
that'll kill
right,
you.
It's this big, it's carrying
yeah.
people away.
And then I hear the facts for the next week after that month.
but-
Did you know?
but they're
Yeah,
retaining it.
I was watching that too.
But they're retaining it.
Yeah.
I like that. So interesting story from World War II, and another one of my fun facts. So in World War II, there was a bunch of POWs, and as part of like whatever the treaty where you're supposed to treat POWs nicely, they were allowed the United Nations or whatever was allowed to, the Allies were allowed to send care packages into the POW camps, and they figured out a way to. And one of the things you could put in a care package was like games, like board games. So they figured out a way to put into the game of Monopoly little silk maps so that the POWs could then use to escape the prison. And that's how they got them into them. So they they sent in silk maps, little tiny silk maps, which they put inside the the pieces. You know, like what are the little, like the car, and they have like the horse or whatever they are, the little thimble. So they would put the iron. Yeah. So like the thimble, they would put a little tiny silk map up into there, and they made it silk because you couldn't hear it like crinkling, and you could fold it and unfold it and fold it and unfold it. They put fake money in with the Monopoly money. Or they put real money in with the Monopoly money, so that when they escaped, they would have like German dollars that they could go buy food or whatever. They figured out a way that they could join two of those pieces and make a compass, and they got it all into these POWs in World War II, and that's what they used to escape. And a file, they were able to.
So it was an actual get out of jail free card.
It was an actual get out of jail free card. That's in the Monopoly. You'll never think about Monopoly the same, will you?
No.
Huh.
Pretty neat,
Monopoly.
huh? Do you?
I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Like
I
play
love
it
board games.
Play it all the time?
Yeah.
I
Scrabble.
don't think I've ever played Monopoly.
Have you played Monopoly?
I hate it. I mean, I hate everything. If I was a POW, I'd be like, screw this. Thanks for the game.
Yeah. Can't believe my mother sent me.
What the heck? You don't even know me.
Where's the candy?
So, you love Monopoly?
Yeah. I love board games in general.
Really?
Mhm.
What's your other favorites?
Scrabble.
Really?
Is my all-time favorite. Yeah.
I like Scrabble. I like the game Boggle. Remember the game Boggle?
Yeah, you hit
Yeah.
I like the game Candyland.
Yeah.
Ooh, Candyland.
Candyland was a good one.
Yeah.
And then, what was the one with the little Life? Remember the Life with the little car?
And you
Mhm.
put the
put the-
kids in it,
yeah,
the wife,
yeah.
the dad.
Yeah, the game of life.
Mm-hmm.
Shoots and ladders.
There were a lot of good games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what they used to get people out of
Twister.
That's not really a board game.
You
not a
would
board.
say Twister.
Well, it's a board game.
It's not a board game.
Yeah.
No,
Why not?
there's no board.
The thing you twist is on a board. The spinny.
No
The
way.
Spinner?
No way. There's no way that Twister is a board game.
That's more
Shannon?
interactive.
I wouldn't say. I
No.
wouldn't say it's a board game.
No.
Great game though.
No. Depends on who you're playing with.
Have you?
Yeah.
Did you?
Oh, obviously.
Shannon, coming over the top. I've never played Twister.
Really?
What?
That's not true.
Yes, it is true.
Really?
Did you play Twister?
Yeah.
Everyone played Twister.
Everyone play Twister.
Really? I don't remember. Maybe I blocked it out.
Yeah.
Must have been the people
Maybe
I was
it
playing with.
dramatic, yeah.
Playing with the football team.
In the church.
Playing after you an altar boy.
Well, that did happen.
All right, so I got a couple more little stories, and then I can't wait to hear your jokes, Keith.
Make sure. Yeah. All right.
I actually have some funny jokes too. I'm really excited about it. So this is Irish. This is an Irish thing that Irish, half Irish.
Yep.
So instead of saying I am sad or I am whatever your emotion is, I am happy, I am sad, I am hurt, whatever. In I am sad in what would it be, Gaelic? What do they speak? Gaelic?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to screw this up, but it's Ta Bron Orm. T-A with the accent, B-E-O with the accent, B-R-O with the accent N, O-R-M. Ta Bron Orm. Is that how you would say that?
Pretty sure no.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 100% no, but go ahead.
I'm could have used a little bit of support there.
I don't know if we should throw you a bone on that one. I don't know.
Well, how would you say it then?
I'm not even going to attempt it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what it means is instead of saying the Irish say that phrase, which is Gaelic, which I just butchered, but what it means is sad is on me, as opposed to I am sad. And I like that differentiator because you're not identifying yourself as the emotion.
Right.
You're still the same person. That emotion has overcome you. It's going to go away, right? I like that. Sad is on me as opposed to I am sad,
I like that too.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Happy is on me.
Yeah, but you're not identifying it. I mean, you want to be happy, but the emotions pass, and you are still who you are.
Mm-hmm.
right? So don't identify as whatever that. Don't. I am angry all the time. Like angry is on me at this particular time. Sad is on me. Whatever that emotion is, it's just a different way to look at it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I like that. Oh, we got another visit from Willer, I think.
Oh, Violet.
Violet. Oh no, she's changing the channel. I'm watching her.
All right.
So, and then this is something I thought was super interesting. And then we'll get into some jokes. I have a whole bunch of stuff, but so back in the 60s, NASA commissioned a study on they wanted to figure out how to hire more geniuses. NASA did. So they wanted to figure out a way to identify geniuses. So they hired this guy named George Land. I don't know who he was, but George Land to do this study, and he started with 5-year-old kids. And their definition of a genius was someone who uses their imagination to solve problems in a creative way. All right? And they found that using that standard, they had a bunch of 5-year-olds. At 5 years old, 98% of the kids identified as geniuses. I can tell you probably know where I'm going with this, right? At 10 years old, only 30. At 15 years old, only 12%. As adults, only 2% were identified using this guy's definition as experts. And you know what he attributed it to? You know what he attributed it to?
School
Life?
system.
Schools.
Yeah.
Schools.
Yeah.
Schools. And what he said was uncreative thinking and behavior is learned. It's not intuitive to who you are. And schools are sucking the creativity out of children.
Wasn't it created to do that, more or less?
Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Uniform, make everybody
Yeah.
the same.
Right.
Dumb people down.
Like a machine.
Yep. So I thought that was interesting. Keith, you want to start with the jokes, or you want me to start with the jokes?
Yeah, I'll start with some jokes.
It's the best part of the day. I have a joke that Daryce gave me too that I have to say.
Okay. What's the difference between Neil Armstrong and Michael Jackson?
One walked on the moon and one did the moon.
Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. Michael Jackson had sex with kids.
Keith.
It's just
That one might end up on the cutting room floor.
really.
No, that one's staying in.
All right, this one. This one might end up on that.
Allegedly.
I have to make some room for this one.
Make some room.
Yeah. Do you guys know I was Asian? Yeah. I'm very Asian.
Okay.
My pronouns are he.
That was the room he needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'll save the other two.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna start with a riddle here.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna start with a riddle. You ready for a riddle?
Yeah.
Okay. Sarah is a butcher. She's 5'5". She has a size 6 shoe. What does she weigh?
Meat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Good one.
Good job.
Good job,
Well
Walshy.
done. Well
It's
done.
a surprise for me.
No.
Yeah. Just everybody in the room was like, "Oh my God, Root Beer got it right."
It must be all those Monopoly games. She's like really sharp.
Sharp. It's that and Scrabble.
Yeah.
What does someone who has diarrhea and someone who owns an electric car have in common?
Always running out.
Close.
I was gonna go with that.
They both make they hope they make it home.
Oh man.
I think that was the one Daryce gave me. I can't remember now. Do I have another joke? Hold on. I thought I did. Maybe I don't. Is that it? No, this is the joke that Daryce gave me.
Oh.
Oh, thank God.
Thank God.
Bought some shoes from a drug dealer. I don't know what they're laced with because I've been tripping all day.
see Daryce.
So good, right? She sent me that. There you go, Daryce. Shout out to Daryce.
Good one, Daryce.
Oh man. All right. So, here's another one. Want a quick definition of an acorn?
Yes.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, it's an oak tree. That dad joke.
Hey, that's a
Let's
good
check that one
one. I
off.
like that one.
Yeah, that's right. Cute, right?
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
It's cute. All right, I got one more. So this little girl Josie is at she's at CCD. You know, she's at Bible study, and she's like the smartest kid in the room. So she's never paying attention. She's always falling asleep, and she's got this little boy Jimmy right next to her. So she's falling asleep, and the teacher says, "Who is the creator of the universe?" And the little boy takes his pen and he pokes little Josie in the arm, and Josie wakes up and says, "God Almighty!" And the instructor says, "You're right, God Almighty. Very good, Josie. Very good." Josie fades off to sleep again. The teacher asks another question: "Who's our Lord and Savior?" Same thing. Little Jimmy reaches over, pokes Josie in the arm. "Jesus Christ!" she says, and the instructor says, "You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right." So the teacher now has a third question. She says, "What did Eve say to Adam after their 26th child?" And Josie's falling asleep, and Jimmy pokes her again, and she goes, "Stick it in me again, and I'll snap it in half and shove it up your ass." I like that one. All right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's enough for jokes today. I have a good mafia story, but I'm going to save that one, I think. All right, let's get into Shannon Sullivan, also known as Shannon, formerly known as Shannon Dwyer.
Yeah.
My cousin, on my mother's side, her mother and my mother, sisters. But I'm going to let you take it from there. Now, I'm so excited for this part of the podcast because, Shannon, how old are you?
3.
43.
Yep.
So I'm 47, almost 48. And I'm going to learn so much about Shannon that I didn't know today. And I'm excited about that.
Okay.
So, now I know some of the answers to these questions, so bear with me. But where did you grow up? Where were you born?
In Pembroke, Massachusetts.
Okay. And who did you live there with?
My mom, dad, and my brother Sean and Steve-O.
Okay. And Steve-O's been on the podcast, everybody. So everybody knows Steve-O. He's been on the podcast. Same house that your dad's still in, right?
Yes.
Water Street.
Yep.
Been there forever.
Yep.
And growing up, you went to Pembroke public schools for a little while?
Yep. Until I was in 6th grade. And then I went to private school in 7th grade. And
Okay.
on.
And why did you make that move? Do you know?
Because we had a regional school.
Okay.
And it was a ton of kids. And I just remember I hated this decision, obviously, because I was ripped away from everything I knew from
Right.
kindergarten up. But I just remember my mom was like, "You'll get lost." And she did. She knew me well enough to be like, "You're not the type of kid that's going to be like, oh, let me find the good kids and do my homework." And you know what I mean? And have that drive like on my own. She was like, this is not going to work.
Right.
So she took me out of that pool of kids.
Yep.
And sent me to this other school where I was like the new kid in 7th grade, which
So what school was that?
St. Francis in South Weymouth.
Okay.
Yeah. For 7th and 8th grade, I was the new kid for kids that had been together since kindergarten.
Really?
Yeah.
And you were the kid from Pembroke,
And I
and
was
they were all from Weymouth and Braintree and
Weymouth. They're 100% Weymouth.
Yeah.
And just me.
How did she find St. Francis?
Well, there wasn't that many options.
Yeah.
So.
And I know eventually you end up at Notre Dame Academy, but they didn't have 7th grade at the time.
Correct.
Which they have now.
Mm-hmm.
They now have 7th grade. So, did you enjoy your time at that school?
Yeah. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah. I mean, other than like, I think the regular stuff, being the new kid, that kind of was tough. But
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, overall, I made friends and.
Do you have any of those friends to this day?
No, I don't. Some of them did go to high school with me too.
Okay.
But I never was like, oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Like, wish I was friends with them. Because
Right.
it was just one of those times where you're just not friends with the people forever. So I never regretted anything. But yeah, while I was there, it was fine.
And during this time, you're playing sports?
Yeah.
So what sports are you playing?
Yeah. At that time, I was just playing soccer.
That's it?
Yeah. I had to, I don't know if you knew this, but I did gymnastics.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
See?
So, and I accredit gymnastics to a lot of things that happened in soccer. So to this day, I still feel like flexibility and like posture and things
Yeah,
like that.
core strength.
That is all from gymnastics.
Do you know that I did
Stuff.
gymnastics?
You didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
For how long?
Like 1 year.
No way.
Yes.
What were you doing? Were you flying over the vaults?
No. I was like I was like doing. I was like 5 or something, right?
Floor exercise guy.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
Killed it.
yeah. And Heather was a big gymnast.
Obviously.
And
I was wearing her leotards.
yeah, there you go. So my older sister Heather was a gymnast, so I would go to. I want to say Kathy Corrigan's. Was that the place?
I think that was hers, yeah.
Yeah. So I would go to Kathy Corrigan's, and I remember being in a recital or a I don't think it's called a recital.
You were in a competition.
Yeah, I had a all white outfit on. I'll never forget it. I was like this big. I guarantee you there's a picture of it somewhere.
Classic.
But I agree with you 100% that gymnastics, Heather was and is the best athlete out of the 4. Daryce won't argue it because she's a terrible athlete, but Robbie will argue it. I won't argue it. Heather is by far the best athlete, and I think it's because of all the gymnastics that she did it for years.
She
and
did
years,
it, yeah. She did it through high school.
She did it through high school,
Yeah.
and tried for a minute. Did it at I think she went to Catholic U first, and then eventually transferred to BC. But I think she tried to do it out there.
Oh. I
Yeah.
did not know that.
So when did you stop doing gymnastics?
So I had to stop in 6th grade because I had really bad back pain. And
Okay.
I just mentioned this to my dad, but I remember playing soccer and then not being able to sit in the car because of the pain like shooting through my back. So they brought me to the chiropractor and they were like, you have to choose because this is so much stress on your body. Because if you remember, gymnastics was 3 times for 2 hours
Yeah.
during the week. And you're in 6th grade, and this is all through up to
Yeah.
then, right? And then on the weekends you would have your meets. So it's like that was a lot, and then
Yeah.
on top of that soccer. So it was too much for my little body, and then I was like, all right, well I'm gonna choose soccer because I'm like 5'7". I wasn't gonna go anywhere.
Right.
That's not like hugely tall, but like I certainly wasn't, like
It's tall for a gymnast.
I'm not,
Yeah.
So then I stopped. So then at that point I was just doing soccer.
Just doing soccer in the
Yeah.
7th grade,
Yeah.
and then at some point, well, not some point, after the 8th grade, you go to Notre Dame Academy.
Right.
And why did you go there?
I was told that all the girls in our family go to Notre Dame, and that's where I'm going, and shut up.
Yeah.
This is like it's
And
happening.
here's your outfit, and put it on, and
Yeah.
go to school.
Yeah.
And they did all go there. I mean, my 2 sisters went there.
Yeah. The Hamiltons didn't go.
The Hamiltons didn't go. Did the Brants go?
Yeah.
Monty went?
Yep.
Jonna went?
Yep.
My 3 sisters went there.
They did?
Yeah.
So would they have been there when Shannon was there?
Maeve might have been, yeah.
How old's Maeve?
She's roughly 43.
Maeve Carter
Carter, yeah.
from Duxbury.
I know that doesn't sound familiar.
No? So you go to NDA and you play soccer there.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer at NDA now is amazing. Did you know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
They
I was just
wouldn't-
talking to the coach actually.
Oh, really? Do
Yeah.
you know her
Yeah.
from?
I mean, it's all like it's all crust. So she was the assistant coach at Northeastern
Okay.
in my 5th year. So
Okay.
she never was my coach. Actually, ran into her at the fundraiser, and she was like,
Kelly Desmond?
"Yeah." So she's like, my husband goes, "How do you know that woman?" And she's like, "Oh, it's Shannon." And she was like, "I was gonna say I was your coach, but I couldn't take credit." And I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
thanks,
that's nice.
thanks, Kel." I'm
Yeah.
like, "You're right. You can't."
And I was that good. So
It was just a cute thing to say.
yeah, that's nice. Nice to And so she lives in Duxbury then.
Yeah, and she's from Duxbury.
Yeah, she grew up here.
And maybe I'm getting her confused with the lacrosse coach at NDA. Does she ever run a club program? Like, is that what this Kelly Desmond does for a living too? Does she run a soccer club program?
No, she'll do summer camps.
But she doesn't run like a club program. Like, so I think the lacrosse coach over there runs a lacrosse club program, and that's why their lacrosse team is also unbelievable. Right now, NDA sports, I don't know if you know this, are off the charts good. Were they that good when you were there?
Yeah. Well, when I was
I mean, I was there, Dan, so of course they were that
that's
good.
not what I was going at. But I don't know if you've ever heard of Courtney Lawson. Courtney Lawson's from Pembroke.
Yep.
And she's probably by far the best player that I've ever played with, and she was a senior when I was a freshman there. Yeah.
At NDA.
Yeah, she went on to where'd she go? UPenn, I think. Anyways, she's phenomenal.
Did she drive you to school because you both lived in Pembroke?
No, she didn't, because she didn't have her license.
As a senior? Get it together.
She's so funny. I know. Yeah, her husband's actually the one who started the Spartan race. I don't know if anyone knows any of that.
Very cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's her.
Dan's into that.
You know
Are
the
you into
Spartan? What's that?
Yeah.
It's intense. It was at
Yeah,
Fenway,
it's
actually.
crazy.
Speaking
Oh
of
yeah,
stadiums.
they you got to climb over things and under
Mhm.
things and around things.
You would crush
A
that.
lot of CrossFit people do that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Oh.
Anybody I know that's done it couldn't walk down the stairs
No.
the next day.
No. I don't
Do you
think
do
that's
it?
very fun.
Have you done it?
No, I signed up for it once, and then I was like, oh, I got hurt, and then I didn't do it. It was the one at Fenway, so I was like, if I'm gonna do it,
Right.
That'd
This
be
is the
the
one I'm
one.
gonna
and
do.
then guess what? My husband did it by himself. He's
He
like,
did. So
Yeah, because I made him
Sully
sign
did
up.
do it. So you were gonna do it together,
Yeah,
and
And
then
I
you bailed.
I'm that kind of person.
I'm out. You go do it.
I know, but see how everything just crosses over. So, anyways, I considered us. I mean, when you're a freshman,
Yeah.
you think that all the seniors are like really amazing
Yeah.
anyway. So, I mean, when you're in it, you think it's pretty great.
Yeah.
But-
So you had a good experience at NDA.
I did, yeah,
You were happy with that decision.
yeah. I think I made the most of it,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And no other sport, just soccer the whole way.
I did do indoor track.
Okay.
I did do indoor track to stay in shape for soccer 1 year.
But soccer is the driver.
Right.
So in that time frame from, call it 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, when you can really start to appreciate coaches, was there any one particular coach before you got to the college level, and we'll talk about that? Was there any particular coach that you were that you think back and that guy was or woman was a good coach? Not just about what you learned on soccer, but in life as well.
I think each one, I guess that there isn't one that
Yeah.
stands out, because each one had their own little niche, because you're also growing up and you need different things, right? So you can't really compare them the college to the, when you're in grade school or
Right.
anything like that. But I will say that there was, this guy's still around too, Dean Schneider is his name, and he would often bring in life things. So there was always this connection.
And what year was this? What?
So, yeah, oh God. It was it probably was in high school as well. I don't think I was any younger. Yeah, I was in high school.
Okay.
I was in high school. So it was between 14 and 18. And
Yeah.
he wasn't a coach. He did camps.
Yep.
That's what he did. But yeah, he would always be I don't know. It was characteristics, endurance, but drive and synergy and, all these things, and how you're a bigger piece of a whole.
Yeah.
So he would always be, so that was way more than just talking about be open for the pass,
Right.
Make it a leading pass, you know what I mean? Go to space. It was why?
Right.
Why
Right.
would you do that? And he made you kind of think about that.
So that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So he's a little nudge in your life, that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the soccer side, anyway, and
Yes.
and bigger things. So, talk me through, because you eventually play soccer in college.
Yep.
Was there a recruiting process that you went through?
Yeah. How were your parents when you went to college?
I
don't
didn't get
even know.
recruited. Nobody wanted me, and my
No.
father got me into school. So
Okay. Oh my God. Well, in a nutshell, that's a treat. So, well, yeah, but were they did they, who did your applications? Who
So-
was
so
these are due, you got to do this?
it's funny you say that. My father was the driver behind that. He was the one that made sure applications were in on time, essays were written.
Yeah.
I can remember writing. I had to handwrite your essays. Now, Annabelle just went through it, and you just type it in, and they give you 500 words, and it's much easier, way more stressful because way more difficult to get into these schools like crazy. But I can remember writing my essay in, and then having my father edit it, and then giving it back to me, and then rewriting it and submitting it. That's how
No
involved
way.
that he was that involved. Yeah, he would. Yeah. And I can remember him standing over me. You've been to my parents' house a million times. That big dining room table that's kind of in the kitchen.
Mhm.
Sitting at that table, writing them with him over my shoulder, being like, "We're getting this done tonight."
Wow.
Yeah. Not a same experience.
No.
Okay.
No. So it was more I don't even know what I don't know what I was thinking, but I knew I just had I was I wanted to experience. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do all this stuff, but I also wanted to play soccer. And I was like, how am I going to get there? And I was like, but I don't have money. I don't have money. And how am I going to pay? How am I going to pay for this?
Yeah.
And I remember being like, my club team wasn't going to any place that would put me in front of anybody.
Okay.
So then I was like, all right, I got to find a club who will take a player. Who needs a player?
And so what year, how old are you at this point?
16.
So you're figuring it out. Now you're going into your junior year.
Yeah, it was, because it was right when, I was like, 16, 17. So what I did was I reached out and I was like, I found the club team. I don't know who they are. And I was like, hey, do you need a player? They don't know who I am. I don't even know why they decided to be like, oh, yeah, sure, you can come to Florida with us. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But that's where all the coaches were going to go.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to go. So somebody's going to take me. And I don't know where that confidence came from. So I got a spot on this team.
So you were picking up the phone. You were calling.
I was calling the people. Because how else am I going to make this work?
Yeah.
Like, how can I make that work? I didn't even have a school in mind.
Yeah.
But I knew that I needed money. And I wanted some sort of like travel, and I wanted to play soccer. So I'm like, okay. And I had friends that get recruited to University of Hawaii, and I was like, oh, you got everything, right? The travel, the soccer. And I was like, what, but anyways, her club team had her going all these places. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll make that happen. So we go down there, and I remember I didn't know anybody. And then my good friend was like, oh, wait, what are you doing? Do they need another player? And I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I can ask them.
Yeah.
And then she ended up coming with me too. So, we go down there, and that's where Northeastern's coach was there. And that's where she saw me, and that was it.
That was it.
Yeah. I did go to other places. So this is one piece I'll never forget too. Maybe this guy's a nudge. And I think his name was Lewis. He was a coach at now I'm blanking. This is the college in Easton.
Stonehill. Oh, Wheaton. Okay.
So he was a coach at Wheaton, and he was like, we want you to play here. And I had an amazing time with his players. Like, I thought they were the best people ever. They were super smart and fun and all that kind of stuff. And he sat me down, and he was like, well, I know you're looking at Northeastern. And he's like, so you can be a little fish in a big pond, or you can be a big fish in a little pond. And he actually thought that would like
woo you over.
Whoa, yeah, like that I would want to be the big fish. I'm like, who wants to be the big fish?
Yeah.
Who wants to? Nobody wants that. What are you gonna do when you're the big fish?
Right. Yeah.
How are you gonna learn? Like,
Yeah.
or how are you gonna get better? Or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I was like, well, I walked out, and I was like, well, that's the end of that.
That sealed the deal
That
for you.
was he's out.
That's definitely a nudge, because that leads you to
Right.
choose between Wheaton and Northeastern.
Right, because everything else was like working with that school, right? Because I had such a great time visiting them, and like I, spent the night and all that kind of stuff. Like, I loved everything.
You were ready to go there.
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, and I was like, what? What kind of?
So
You need to go back to coaching school or something.
yeah, that's not what I would have said, but so when do you decide? At what point do you decide Northeastern? Like, how old are you?
Oh well, I mean, I was 17.
But early in your senior year, like, was it a done deal?
No,
Like,
it wasn't like it wasn't an early thing. It was it was whenever the normal time
so
was. It wasn't
spring
like
of
yeah. It wasn't anything.
But you were the coach wanted you to come play there.
Right,
Okay.
and gave me the ability to go there,
Yeah.
right, by giving me what I needed.
Financially giving you what you needed, and Northeastern also gives you the 5-year program. They got the co-op program, incredible school, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
So you decide to go to Northeastern. You go to Northeastern for 4 years, play soccer there.
Well, yeah, 5 years, but yeah.
5 years, because it's a 5-year program, right? For no other reason, not like you were flunking off or anything. It's a 5-year program.
Right.
What do you study?
So I studied communications,
Okay.
media. Yeah.
And with an eye towards what?
I really wanted to work in a radio station.
Really?
I wanted to do this right here, talking to those microphones. No, I did. I really, for a while, that's what I wanted to do.
You wanted to be a radio personality, or like be behind the scenes like Root Beer?
No, I wanted to be the one playing the music.
You wanted to be you wanted to be a DJ?
Yeah. I wanted to be surrounded by music. That's all I wanted.
And where did that come from?
I don't know. I just decided that. I don't know. I think that music plays a huge part in a lot of people's lives, and I translated that into like, okay, well,
I want to be
why
that.
can't I just do it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was music did you have music playing in your house all the time when you were a kid?
Yes.
You did.
Like my grandmother's like favorite album before she passed away in like 88 was Paul Simon's Graceland. So it's like we just knew. Like I'm not sure everyone knows like what their grandmother would listen to, but I just feel like we were always surrounded by
music was always playing.
Yeah.
We didn't have and it's funny, and I asked that question when people are interested in music, and we've had, Steve-O's been on, and we had the other guy there, the realtor that was big into music, and he sang us a couple notes. And I always asked that question because music was not played in our house. We didn't have, on a Tuesday afternoon, there was no music playing in the kitchen. There wasn't. Just not my parents. Yeah.
Okay.
And we liked music, but none of us are musically inclined. Can't play an instrument, can't sing, music was never, with the exception of my sister's making home videos to Michael Jackson songs.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Daryce is big into music.
She's big into music.
Huge.
But it wasn't it wasn't something she did, right? She didn't take music lessons. She didn't learn how to play an instrument. She listened to music and she liked music in the car and had an incredible music collection, and then, had the big CD book when you turned the, 1,000 CDs in it, and then she had the 100 disc player, but it wasn't she didn't aspire to be a DJ, right? She didn't learn how to play the guitar like Steve-O did, right? So to me, having that music in the house, I think encourages people to go further into music, because Steve-O didn't stop playing the guitar until later on in life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, he was post maybe college. Certainly not high school. I think it was after that. I think I remember him starting to play when he was in South Boston, which is into his 20s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. For sure.
So communications, you do your 5 years. You play varsity soccer for 4.
Yep.
You guys any good?
No, we were. We were not. It's true. We were not. But Northeastern was Division 1, so I mean, you could take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, we were horrible. Oh my gosh, our I don't even know if we won one game my freshman year. Yeah.
What about senior?
Yeah,
year?
towards the end, yeah,
Got better.
It was more. Yeah, we were more competitive. For a while, I don't even know why they made this decision, but we had one coach for the men's and the women's team.
How does that work?
Same coach?
Budget.
Wow.
So I mean, but he was the men's coach. So who do you think? Who do you think was gonna get? He did his best, fine, but
Right.
okay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, if you don't have anybody out there recruiting and trying to find the next wave of talent, and
he did. I mean, that's where Kelly came in, and things,
got better.
They got better.
Yeah.
They got better. But now they have a phenomenal coach now. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Northeastern seems to be on the uptick all around. Their women's hockey is unbelievable. Soccer's obviously got a good thing going on.
Their tuition.
Men's hockey, tuition, academics, acceptance rate. It's definitely a school that's improved themselves over the last 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
They just won another Beanpot on the men's side of hockey for 5 of the last 6 or something. So after college, what do you do?
So then after college, I played co-ed soccer and stuff like that. So soccer was still a part of life at that point.
Yeah.
And I moved home actually.
You did?
I did. I moved home because I really wanted to live in Southie.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. So that was so now I have another goal. Okay, so now I'm gonna live at home and save my money, and then I'm gonna buy
a condo.
Yeah. So I didn't want to rent. I don't know why. That
Smart.
would have been fine. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I did. I moved home, and then I was part of the street team for Entercom, which is a radio station. And, I did so I wasn't a DJ. I wasn't in the booth or anything like that, but I was out there doing the promos at the bars and things like that at the liquor stores. You know where you get the free goodies and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I had a ton of free goodies. So I worked there for a while, and I couldn't find a job, and it was really hard, and that really started to mess with me. And then Daryce was like, all right, look, if you're serious, I can have Chris help you get a job.
Yeah.
At Blue
Chris
Cross.
is Daryce's husband, and he's been at Blue Cross and Blue Shield
since he was born.
Yeah. 418 years.
So I think something happened before, and that's why she was like, no, serious. She like sat me down. She's like, don't
Well,
don't let me put my husband's name behind you if you're not planning on being there.
Well, I'm sure she probably did it for somebody else, or he did it for somebody else.
Something happened.
And something happened, right?
Yeah.
They didn't show up, or they flaked out, or they
Yeah.
were there for a week, and next thing you know,
yeah.
they're coming to Chris and being like, hey, you vouch for this guy
Yeah.
or
yeah.
gal, and they flaked.
Yeah. Well, Blue Cross is like Ursula. You like sign your name and then you're in there for like ever.
Yeah.
So I was like 9 years later. I was like, Chris, is this good?
Yeah.
Am I good?
Yeah.
Are we good on this now?
Can I go?
Can I cut ties with? Can I cut ties now with the blue? But yeah. So I was there for a while. But
Do you eventually get the condo in Southie?
yeah.
Yeah.
I do want to rewind because I have a funny story about.
Okay,
you
good.
Probably don't remember.
Me?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so I saved my money. Like I lived at home. My parents are like the coolest ever. And they're still like parents, they're not like trying to be my best friend.
Yeah.
But yeah, so living with them was like no pressure, super cool.
Yeah.
I did my thing. I kept my stuff neat and all whatever. So that was always great. That was never like a tough thing to do, like, ooh, tough decision to move home. And then I got the place in Southie, which was a nudge from a friend's girlfriend at the time who was a real estate agent, was like, look, you can afford it. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
She's like, yes, you can. Let's just pull the plug. So I ended up doing that. So I was living that dream. I was living that dream for a while.
Living in Southie, working at Blue Cross Blue Shield. Just,
yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah.
everybody's dream.
Yeah, everybody's dream. You know what I mean? Yeah, Ursula's like got my voice, but I was like, I was in finance.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I started to like do things. I went to the director. I was like, I don't want to be in finance. And she's like, okay, well, what can we do? And so Blue Cross is so big. That was the whole point. Like I can get into Blue Cross and then I can move, right? They've got a whole marketing department. That's creative. Let me do that. And so eventually, it took me a long time, but eventually I did shift into the marketing department there.
From finance to marketing.
From finance to market with like a lot of networking.
A lot of work.
Schmoozing.
Yeah.
And all that. But when I went to Northeastern, we had the co-ops, right? So we could go. We could do whatever we wanted. And I was using my family connections to like go all these places and stuff like that. And which was wonderful. I went to Hawaii and hung out with my friend at University of Hawaii.
Yep.
In Washington State, I was there too. And then I studied abroad. So I went abroad. And I was like on a solo trip and I was like feeling all the feels. And I sent a message to all my cousins and you wrote back like, I wrote something like, oh, like, this is so great. Like whoever you're thankful to for like the world, whether it's like God, Buddha, Mother Nature, like all this kind of stuff, like just know that this is just, the world is wonderful. This is what I came back with.
And this is when you were in Australia.
This is when I'm in Australia.
Yeah.
I said this to my cousins. You're like, thanks so much, Shan, like for this spiritual message. Like you totally shut it down. You were like, yep. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know where you were at that point. Where were you?
What year?
2001 or 2000.
2001. 2001, I was in law school.
Okay. Yeah. So you
living
hated
in
life.
Cambridge, miserable. Actually, just met Marlene in 01. Yeah. So, and she's out in Australia. I'm like, F this B.
I was like,
It's like,
wow.
I hate her.
I was like, I haven't heard anything from Zian, but okay.
I haven't done anything fun in years, and she's out in Hawaii. I mean, Australia, living the life with kangaroos jumping around.
Yeah.
So how long were you in Australia?
I
thought that was the most foreign thing to me. I'm like, who goes to Australia?
Well, my roommate was Australian at Northeastern.
Yeah.
She was crew, and so she was another athlete, and we clicked, and I was like, well, I'm going to go to Australia. So I went early for my session at school and stayed with her family, just so I could get, like, the Australian life.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I hung out with her family. I think I was there, I don't know, 5 months total.
Yeah.
Yeah. So went a little early, stayed a little late, and, yeah.
5 months in Australia.
Yeah.
That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it was. It was.
So that's one thing that I talk to Annabelle about now. Like, make sure you go abroad. Make sure you go abroad. And actually, I heard a story the other day about a girl that plays on a hockey team, and she's supposed to go to Costa Rica on a trip, and the coaches don't want her to go. And I'm like, you can't tell that kid not to go to Costa Rica. There's people that she may never get another opportunity to leave the country. You don't know what someone's financial situation is or family situation is to be able to, piggyback an academic opportunity to go out of the country. Although Costa Rica, no, Puerto Rico is a.
It's Costa
Rica's out of the country.
It's not a U.S. territory.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Whew, baby. Okay. Moving on. So, 9 years at Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah.
So now I have you like early 30s at this point.
Yeah, about that. And then,
Have you met Sully yet?
oh yeah, he actually came to one of my games when I was a freshman and lost every single game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, isn't that funny?
But not as a boyfriend.
Well, nope. He came. So my good friend who worked at Starland with me, because that's where you work.
Amazing, right? I think just so sure you wouldn't understand.
No.
So Starland, it was like
Love
the
Starland.
go-karts, video games, driving range in Hanover, and everybody worked there.
Oh.
Everybody had a stint there.
That's
Some
fun.
people for a
It's
week.
super fun. It's super fun.
Some people.
Especially for someone in all-girl school.
Yeah. Sometimes for a week. Sometimes for 5 years. Right. Like everybody had a stint. I was on the week plan. I was like, yeah, this isn't for me.
Oh my.
Yeah.
What they do? Ask you to weed?
In pretty much. I went in one door and out the other door. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. How much an hour? Nah.
I was really good at the birthday parties.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just all about hanging out.
Yeah.
That's all it
Yeah.
was. So yeah, a coworker.
Yep.
So a coworker becomes my friend, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go watch my friend play her game at Northeastern. Do you want to come?" And that's Dan. And Dan comes along, and he watches the game. And we don't really remember talking to each other, but he remembers watching me play. But
So
obviously,
you meet him, but you don't start dating him until
No.
much later in
yeah,
life.
yeah.
So when do you start dating him?
So after, so it's a co-ed soccer game at the Social Sports Center with that same friend who was like, "Hey, I'm putting together a co-ed team," and so we were both on the team. And
Were you better than him?
No, I mean he's pretty fast.
Yeah.
So that's something I don't have, so I had to make up a lot of other skills because I'm not very fast.
Yeah.
But he could always beat me. But yeah, so it would be it was kind of funny. He would be like, "Hey, everyone's going for drinks," and then he would go and tell everybody, "You're not going. If you want to go for a drink, you go somewhere else." But except for me and Dan. So me and Dan would go upstairs to the bar.
And
And
everybody
then
else would leave.
That's cute.
But they weren't there. So they were just there. And Nick had gone and told everybody, no,
Don't go.
don't go. Not even Nick. Nick left.
So just
So
the
just two of us.
That was the first date.
No, yeah, kind of, right? Like
Yeah.
it was kind of like a forced thing. He was like, "No."
That's a
That's cute.
it's
That's
a-
sweet.
yeah, it's a nice story.
That's a good friend.
Yeah, it was a good friend. Still a great friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what year is that?
So that was, I don't know, I think it was 24.
Okay. So after Blue Cross Blue Shield, you've been dating Sully for a while. After Blue Cross Blue Shield, what happens?
So then I decided that I wanted to work at a nonprofit.
Okay.
Blue Cross tries to play that they're not for profit.
Yeah, they're for profit.
Yeah, right. So I really wanted to work for a nonprofit, and a coworker of mine's husband worked for one, and she's like, "Hey, they're looking for a marketing person," and so I was like, "All right, I'm in."
Yeah.
So I did that, and then I got pregnant.
Right then.
So I got married. Yeah. So we were married. We were living in Southie. Yeah, and then I was actually pregnant in the interview. Yeah. Yeah.
But
So
you
it was a
didn't
little
tell-
tricky.
Yeah.
It was a little tricky.
You didn't
But I could
tell 'em.
hide it.
Yeah.
No, because I was told not to. I was told not to.
Yeah.
Because I'd be judged on that, and I would have.
Well, they're gonna say she's gonna be gone in
Yeah.
X amount of months.
And I was.
Yeah.
So they didn't know. They didn't know. So I had my two oldest while I was working at this nonprofit.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
how long do you stay there?
I guess that was like, I don't know, 3 years.
Okay. At some
my
point
kids are close together. Those ones.
during that time, is that when you moved back to Pembroke?
Yes. So you really make me think about that. So when did I move? Yeah. So I moved back to Pembroke because Sal didn't really want to live in the city, and
Yeah.
I was still pregnant. I hadn't had Jameson yet.
Okay.
that's
And
when we
Jameson's
moved
your
back to
second.
Pembroke. He's my first.
Jameson's your first.
Yeah, and he's 2013.
2013.
So now we're in 2013, and I'm back in my hometown.
Right around the corner from your house.
Right around the corner from my house. Yeah, and yeah. So then, I mean, like after I do the nonprofit, because that's kind of like that was like a short stint, but that's when Mom was sick, and there was a job opening like right down the street, which was a pay cut, but it was in Pembroke.
Yeah.
And I went for that, and I was like, I didn't think I would get it, but I did, and that was wonderful because that meant like every lunch I would just go to my parents' house, so I was able to be with my mom a lot more.
Yep.
So it was like I was so glad that I had gotten that job because that meant a lot. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't want to be that. The nonprofit wasn't at South Station. I was
Yeah.
like, I didn't want to do that anymore,
Right.
and I missed all. I was gonna miss all this time with Mom. So
So that worked out perfectly.
yeah,
And eventually now you live in Duxbury.
yeah.
So what's the current status of Shannon Sullivan?
Oh boy. Well, I mentioned earlier, this is another big like life thing that just happened where we are a 2-income family, and I feel like that's just how we're built and how we live. And I had, I've always wanted to stay home, and my youngest is gonna start kindergarten, and I was like, this is one time in life. Can we go down? Can we go down in salary for right now if I go to my company and say, can I work part-time?
So what's the company now?
So the company now is Vetcor. We own veterinary practices across the U.S. and Canada.
And what do you do for them?
I do marketing.
You do?
Yeah.
So are you marketing for the individual veterinary shops, or are you marketing for Vetcor as a whole?
Wow. You're like the only person that's ever asked me that has no idea about what that is. That's so funny. Yeah, so I'm on the corporate marketing. No one's ever asked me that.
Really?
They don't get it. They don't get it.
I was just going to ask you that.
So you're advertising for the individual.
Yeah. So I do the corporate side.
Okay.
So, but I need the hospitals to give me the stories.
Yeah.
So that, we want to come across as like a personal brand. So I'm behind like all the blog posts and about all like these great stories about the people that we employ. Right?
Okay.
We've bought their practice but they're wonderful people. And like I said.
So the business model is to buy up the hospitals, but leave the people in place.
Leave the people.
Rebrand
leave the
it.
name. Yeah. And like if they, anything special that they do, we leave. Like if they do like a canine walk every year or something, you know what I mean? All that stuff all stays the same.
All stays
we take
the
all
same.
the crappy stuff.
Right.
Recruiting and all that.
All the stuff that they don't want to do, they just want to. They want to run their hospitals.
Yeah, veterinarians. I mean, it's like a whole. It's pretty crazy. Like you go to school to take care of animals, and then you have to have your own company and like pay people, and you know what I mean. You're doing payroll. You're doing HR. You know what I mean. You're signing the lease on your building and all that kind of stuff. It's like
you're running a small business. Yeah. It's like being dentist or something like that too, right? Same idea. You got to run. You're running a business and running a practice. It's very difficult. So your company takes that off their plate and says, we'll run the business side, give us a little money, and you keep some money and everybody be happy.
Yeah.
And you're doing marketing for them.
Yeah, exactly.
And now at this point in your life, the youngest going to kindergarten next year, you want to go part-time.
Yeah.
Okay. And how'd that go over?
Well, I had a whole script and I had to, I was sweating. And my accent came through. My boss is from Texas. She's like, oh. Because that's what happens when you get stressed out. Yeah. Well, when you have some drinks. I mean, that's when you revert back.
And you were actually doing both at that point.
Yeah. So I had this whole script. I didn't know where it was going to go. And it's just, and she's only been, my boss for like a year. So it's not like she knew me too well. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I think. And I laid it all out. And I was like, what do you use half my salary? Why don't you go get somebody else?
Yeah.
Or give someone else like a huge bonus. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Help it with retention and stuff. So I don't know. So I don't know what sold her, but
they bought it.
They bought it.
Okay. So and you told me earlier they're in Norwell. They're in Norwell.
Mm-hmm.
Assinippy Park.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going great?
Yeah.
And you moved to Duxbury?
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, we really like it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Happy with the move?
Yeah, definitely.
How's the house coming along?
Oh, it's slow.
Yeah.
It's slow.
Is Sully doing all the work himself?
No, I do. No, Saul does it. Well, we've had like my brother Sean was in there. He did the painting.
Yeah.
My dad's done the lighting.
Yeah.
Another cousin on my dad's side did the plaster. I mean, so it's just
you're leveraging your family connections.
Yeah, I am. Just see how I did that.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And what sort of struck me, and like I said earlier, like my favorite part of the podcast is get people in here that I've known my whole life and learn new things, right? So what struck me through your whole story was sort of the self-driven, self-motivation. I want something. I'm going to take the steps to do it. I'm not going to go ask mom and dad or anybody else. Like, I got to get on this club team. I'm making the call. I got to get recruited. I'm getting that done. I want to, whatever it is you want to do. And then the other thing that struck me was your ability to use your network, right? And friends, all the way from like personal to professional to trips to Australia, right? To trips to Hawaii, to just all the little things that you were able to do because of the people you met, because you were willing to make a phone call as a 16-year-old kid and say, hey, I've got to get on this club soccer team. Right? Because if you don't do that, you don't end up at Northeastern, and you don't meet the person that you went to Hawaii with or Australia with, and you don't. end up meeting Sully because you're not playing hockey, you're not playing soccer at Northeastern. Maybe you're playing somewhere far away, and the kid, you know what I mean? Like all these little things that happen just from that one little phone call that you picked up the phone. And I can tell you, in dealing with 15, 16, 17-year-old girls as a coach, there's not a lot of girls that have that, would do that. They would wait for somebody else to do it. So kudos to you for doing it. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
So on that, I want to say thank you for coming on the show. My question that we have to ask. Is there anything you left out that you want to tell? Is there any story? Because what ends up happening, Shannon, is we walk out that door and everybody goes, oh, I meant to tell about the time I did X. Is there anything that you think you missed?
You know what? I'll just say this. When you do a highlight reel, right?
Yeah.
When you do your top 10 after watching the whole game, and you're watching the best parts of it, right? That was like the best parts.
Yeah.
But I have to say, you're talking to those teenagers, for all the calls and for all the interviews, it is such a small fraction of things that I actually got what I wanted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in there, and I feel like when you do things like this, you kind of can be like, oh wow, look, yeah, she had grit, determination, and she got what she wanted. It's not true. There was so many times where I didn't get what I wanted, heartbreaking things, right? And it's that's the thing. That's gonna happen. You're gonna get served that way more than you're gonna get served what you wanted.
Yeah. So you gotta just keep going.
It's just like a never-ending thing.
Yeah. It's like the picture of the iceberg when they talk about success, right? Everybody sees the success over the horizon of the water or whatever, but all the work's underneath.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
It's
so
the highlight reel.
The highlight
We
reel.
present the highlight reel.
Yeah.
Right. Right. But even in your own head, you present the highlight reel, right? Because that's how we look. You have to look at things that way. Because that's why I'll do too. I'm like, well, you know what? I did get that. So
Yeah.
okay.
Right. So you forget about all the other.
Yeah.
You forget about all the rejections.
Exactly.
It's like that when I got married. I forgot how to forget about all the rejections before. So I'm gonna leave you with my. I knew you'd like that one, Rufio. I'm gonna leave you with my ending story.
Please do.
Okay, I will. And this was a piece of advice that a teacher gave to a father gave to a son as he was going off to college, and he said, "Life is like a pencil." And this isn't my pencil joke that I told from last week. Okay, have I told this one that life is like a pencil?
Mm-hmm.
Have I told it?
I don't think so.
Actually,
Okay.
no, you haven't.
So life is like a pencil in the sense that in
Is
order
this the joke or is this the
this is the ending story.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The joke. Do you want to hear the joke?
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
So the joke is, and Daryce loved this joke. What was the joke?
Life is like a pencil.
No, how do pencils go poop?
No.
Yes, they do. Where do you think number 2 pencils come from?
You did. This was last week.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
This is
This is an inspirational story.
so.
On that
So
note,
life is like a pencil, okay? In order to use it, it has to be sharpened, and you must imagine how much, if the pencil was alive and not an inanimate object, how much that would hurt, right? So sharpening, getting sharper in life, it's going to hurt, right? You're going to go through some battles like you just talked about. Everywhere you go, you'll leave a mark, much like a pencil when you write. Everywhere you go in your life, you leave your mark. So you're writing your own story. What does that look like? As you write that story, much like a pencil, if you make a mistake, you can erase it, right? So you can go back and correct your mistake and learn from your mistakes, right? And then finally, like with a pencil, it's what's inside that matters. So life is like a pencil. Right, Rupia?
Right.
Right, Shannon?
Right.
Keithy?
Yep.
You don't like that one.
I do like that one. I'm going to break the pencil.
All right. On that note, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you. Keithy, thank you. Rupia, thank you. And if anybody needs me, you know where to find me because everybody needs a nudge. Goodbye.
Nice job, Shannon.